Okay, Garfield, Garfield, there is one thing about Garfield games that I think I have neglected to mention to you. Or at least I thought there was. And it's the number of games for the Nintendo DS based on Garfield. However, that number is not very much, actually. In fact, I think it's only 4, technically 5, judging by what they had on Amazon. Most of them are like specifically based, or at least they had the same names as Garfield movie, like the DVD movies. And surprisingly, there's one that's currently unavailable, based on Garfield's Pet Force. It's unavailable because it got canceled, and yet somehow it's still there. Turns out I exaggerated to myself the number of games for that console, for the handheld console, and instead I really need to talk to you about how much there is for these new things called apps, you damn kids, whatever they're called. Tons of them. Right on the Garfield website, right on Amazon, iPhone, Android, all that shabazz. And they're ranging from just basic stuff like Garfield Talks, so it's like a talk box. I don't even think that's a fucking anything. And they have a comic creator, and they have just like a daily Garfield app. Actually, I don't even know if I've seen that one, but they also have games. They also have mobile mobile games, aka mobile app games, applications, app. And they just seem like everything that a person could want based on Garfield. I think the biggest ones are probably, there's like a couple of tower defense ones, including one called Garfield Zombie Defense, and there's also one called Garfield Kart Racing, just straight up a Garfield Kart Racing only for Android and stuff like that, or maybe even for only iOS. I just don't know, Garfield. I really don't know anything about mobile games. I don't know shit about them. I think I know that a lot of them are free for purchasing, but when they have ways that people can pay money for them, they're also fucking ubiquitous. They're also fucking ubiquitous. Like, it just seems like anyone can fucking make a Garfield game, and I think everyone but me has. So yeah, the number of those mobile games, and it should be no surprise, I mean, it's really not, but heavily outweighs the amount of ones for the DS. We're talking like probably at least 20, 30 to 4. In order to see what they're like, we had to play them for ourselves, Garfield. We chose Garfields Pet Hospital from the iOS store. I guess I would call it a clinic simulator. Of course, Liz is there because she's the vet, and also Doc Boy, which is John's brother. And people bring in their ill and injured animal friends, and various remedies are given to them, but it just kind of looks like they're hitting them with their palms, just like open faced, and like it's one of those games where one has to just kind of like do several things at once. And it's a free game, but after beating the first level, it became very, very clear why it's a free game, because we only got 7 coins from it, but all the upgrades cost like 250, and if we wanted to hire if we wanted to hire John, it cost like 300. If we wanted to hire Garfield, it would actually cost 800 coins. So there's a way that players can pay $5 and get some in-game money kind of deal. Otherwise it would take probably a while, because those coins they only come up every so often. Like, we only got 7 Garfield. Yeah, I'm guessing the other ones aren't much different. We took our pick of the 4 DS games, Garfield, and I wanted to shy away from any of them that seemed like they were based on the newer, crappier CGI Garfield movies, and let's be basic. Actually, I've only seen one, but it was pretty crappy. But if it's anything like the Garfield show, I want to stay away from it. Because if there's one thing I'm going to say right now, Garfield, it's that the Garfield show pretty much sucks. Yeah, like, they get everything wrong, but that's something else. And out of all the DS games, it looked like one of them was specifically not based on anything. And it's called Garfields Nightmare. It is made by the Game Factory, which is actually the 3rd game that we played by them, Garfield. And in fact, Garfield, you'll notice something here. You'll notice that I'm going to say this is the 3rd time we've done this quite a bit. Garfield has eaten too much. He has filled his belly, and now he's going to have one of those food nightmares. therefore Garfield's Nightmares. Which makes it, in fact, the third game that we played Garfield in which Garfield is in a dream world. And the story, that's the fucking story, is that Garfield's having a bad dream. He's got to worry about spiders, there are some apparitions there, it's just jumping on platforms. The touchscreen isn't really used at all, and it's just basically a Game Boy Advance game with graphics that don't look so bad, and sounds that don't sound so bad. There's one thing though, Garfield. When Garfield gets hit, he makes the cat noise. So this is actually the third game we played in which Garfield's little kind of pained grunt is just the sound of a cat screeching. I think what this Garfield's Nightmare is trying to be is like a puzzle platformer, sort of, as in like it requires. Actually, what the fuck am I talking about? No, it doesn't. It's just a fucking platformer, and it has fucking switches. That doesn't make it anything. It doesn't play too badly for the most part. In fact, there are some spots when they have like these little ghost things flying around, straight out of Ghostbusters, like conspicuously straight out of Ghostbusters. And Garfield will have to navigate them and try not to get hit. So I'm like, for the first two levels, I was like, wow, this is really kind of challenging, or whatever that could ever mean. But of course, Garfield, you can just jump on it. There are donuts for Garfield to pick up, but they don't restore any health. And Garfield also has to get pizza to make himself feel better. He has coins he can also collect. Those coins are used just for one thing, that is opening secret doors. And opening these secret doors will get us to a mini game. And the one that we got was that Garfield had to rummage around in garbage cans, but some garbage cans had bombs in them. In fact, according to what we saw, Garfield, all of them have bombs. Every single one. But for the most part, Garfield's Nightmare is nondescript. And I'm sure kids would enjoy it, playing it in the corner while their parents want them to not talk for a while. The first world that we saw is pretty much just like a haunted castle kind of deal. And the boss and we get to the boss, and we find out that its name is Warren Batty. The boss is just a typical jumpy boss. Drop stuff, you gotta jump over it, and then you jump on them. The game actually kind of looks good. I'm not really used to DS, like what the graphics are like on a DS. Not a 3DS, but just a DS. Like the character, like Garfield looks alright, and the bad guys look alright. And like I said, like the sound is, I think, actually not bad at all. Well, it's just like the music isn't bad, which is something to be said too, because like the other, one of the other Game Factory games we played, the music's actually kind of like the best part of it. The reason actually we were just gonna stop after a couple levels, Garfield, but if you recall, we got there and we wanted to play the mini games, but we can't get a mini game unless we beat the boss. And then we see that the next level is based in a volcano, so we go from Dracula's castle to, I guess, I can't really think of any movies with volcanoes. I don't know if I know any movies with volcanoes. Actually, there's a Garfield movie with volcano. That was the one when I went to Hawaii, and there's a scene where they had to sacrifice two people to the volcano god so it doesn't erupt.